Welcome to the Danielton Podcast, where we talk about everything that we love about video games. I'm your host, Danielton, and I'm here with my co-host, Nairo.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Today, we'll be going through the Resident Evil 4 remake by discussing some things that we've seen in trailers and gameplay so far, and also give you our experiences with the demo.
A lot of good stuff in that demo so far.
Yeah. We'll just be talking about the demo first, and then we'll go on with the specifics on the remakes. So let's just get started.
What do you want to start with?
So I want to start off with the graphics. That's the obvious thing. The graphics are the best part of the remake.
Yeah, definitely a beautiful game. You can already tell just by the small little walk through the forest that you do that there's quite a bit of attention to detail, and I'm already impressed with how it looks. But you would also hope that they've made a decent improvement with how many years it's been since Resident Evil's been out. This is a classic. It was originally released on the GameCube.
Yeah, so if this game needed improvements, I would definitely hope that it would be
Right.
with the specifics like carcasses of animals all over the place, blood.
Carcasses of animals. I'm looking at the trees and the houses, Dan.
Well, just like the little details while you're going through the forest. It's like, oh, like you're this is not what Leon's experienced with. It's like, holy shit, this is gonna be like, whoa.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it's well, a lot of Resident Evil games have like that intro, like gory wow factor.
But it's like, just the atmosphere right away is like mind blowing. It's just like,
Yeah, I like that it's at least from the demo what we get. I like that it's slightly different so that returning players could come through and still get a nostalgic effect, but a different experience.
yeah,
If that makes sense.
yeah, it's unique but also familiar. And I want to talk about the controls. And once we started playing it, it was like this is like it's so different from what it used to play, because like with the original, like it was all tanky and stuff. Like it was still like you didn't have full control over Leon, but with this one, you have full control with slight delay.
Yeah, I definitely noticed like there's definitely a slight delay when you want to change directions. You almost have to commit to go into a certain direction, and you can't automatically just change and run the other way. So, but I honestly like it. It makes it a little more tense, and it makes it feel like you're barely getting away from all these ganados trying to grab you, and I like moments like that.
It really, just it makes it more suspenseful. I mean, like if you're running like into a ganado and like you wanted to run back, it's like, oh, I didn't stop all the way.
Yeah, so you gotta hurry up and pull out a pistol or a knife or something. I think it keeps you on your toes a little bit. You have to be committed to the direction that you're going in a way. Like it takes like a second or two to turn around. So I'll say that much.
Yeah, that's what got me like dying throughout the demo. Was just like, wait, I didn't go back fast enough.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. These new Ganados are not playing no games, man. They are quick, and there is a lot of them. And for returning players, I want to say that your old tricks aren't really gonna work here necessarily. I climbed up the famous little bell tower there in the initial village, and just know that there's a little surprise waiting for you little campers that want to chill up there.
Yeah, it's like this game is not pulling any punches. Like when you think you've come up with a good strategy, the game's like, hell no.
Yeah, you'll get caught with your pants down if you're not careful, guys. So definitely a plus. You want to talk about the knife?
Yeah, I want to definitely talk about the knife. The knife is one of the things that I'm most excited for because it's so different than it used to be. Like, first of all, it has durability, so it's not going to be as reliant as you might think. But at the same time, it is because you could do so many things with that knife.
It actually seemed like it had a lot more durability than like the past two remakes. I may just be like having a foggy memory, but it seemed like the knife in Resident Evil 4 is almost like the culmination of what they've learned from making the first or the second and the third remake. And I feel like there's You know, I don't know how to feel about the knife being a consumable. You know, that's never sat well with me. But the way that they're doing it is looking like they're moving in a more progressive direction. And I'm excited to see how it works.
Yeah, and one last thing is you can use the knife to stealth kill most of the enemies, like,
Hmm.
which is really cool to think. And it's like, yeah, and with like when you're in the village section, like you can actually sort of stealth your way into killing most of the enemies without getting caught. Like you could just like go into the village and shoot people, but you can like take. I like that you could take different approach to it. And it
Yeah,
seems
I like that the whole like combat system's kind of been like reworked in a way. You know, like when looking back at like, excuse me, the original Resident Evil 4, it is a little bit tanky and janky compared to like today's standards. Whereas now I feel like they've taken like the good parts of like Resident Evil 4, the original, and they've just made them more almost cinematic. The combat feels like, you know, I feel like there's a lot of cinematic moments. You know, it's almost like it blends the line between like movie and video game really well at certain points.
yeah, the cinematics are just beautiful, and like they are really like well done.
Yeah, I think, and they're in places where it makes sense, you know, so it doesn't take you out of the action is what I like.
Yeah. One thing I do want to mention as we were playing the demos was the game overs. Like that was one thing I was looking forward to when playing this demo is like the variety of ways you can die. And like you do die in multiple ways. Like you get hatchets like thrown at your face. You get stabbed in the neck with like a pitchfork.
You 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 have a weird obsession with gore, my guy.
Hey, hey, I've watched a lot of horror movies that like use
No,
gore
no.
in so many ways.
I will say that like Resident Evil 4's original deaths they're iconic, you know, like there's a lot of effort obviously put into making them like scary, you know, but you also got to think about like the times that we live in today, you know, and how they've got to cater to certain people to just sell enough of the game. Although honestly, I don't see them having any issue selling this game. It's looking like it's a game of the year, honestly.
Yeah, I'm really am expecting this game to be game of the year already, but like the game they do have some variety. Like you get your eyes like crushed in, like you and your eyes start bleeding while you're like getting choked to death,
Hmm.
and like the chainsaw death, which I was looking forward to the most. This one was just a little bit underwhelming for me because the way that the chainsaw guy kills you now, instead of fully decapitating you, he just kind of like saws through your body and upwards to like your like elbow area. And the way they do it, it's not really that like
There's no like dismemberment.
it's no dismemberment. It doesn't like your body doesn't fall apart. It just looks like the same like model
Well,
just with blood
Well,
on
I think that you got to think like how this is releasing, you know. I think like back then when it was releasing, bro, Resident Evil 4 was a more niche game, you know, and really it was only going to be like more adults that were going to get it, you know. Even though like a lot of people played it as kids, I understand that, but a lot of people so a lot more people are going to try to get into this one, you know. So they have to cater. I think like not everybody wants to see body parts flying all around, you know. Not I feel like some people can't stomach that. That's why they're doing that sort of censorship.
like
You know.
are you saying that people are sensitive little babies?
No, you're saying that. Everybody
Why?
cancel Danielton right
No,
now.
no. But okay, I guess it's not that big of a deal. It was just a little bit underwhelming.
Well, it's because I think we're just in a new era of gaming now. If you think about it, bro, like we're not in the Silent Hills era, the Resident Evil 4s era, the Gears of War era. You know, it's a whole new age.
All right. Well,
But you know, R.I.P. to the old school decapitations. You know, forever in our hearts.
well, don't say that yet. It's only just.
Well, yeah. Who knows? Who
Yeah,
knows?
who knows? But that's pretty much our experience with the demo. So we'll just go into specifics now. and like I'll go through a little bit of my wish list and just what we want to see in the game so far.
Alrighty.
So, first off, I want to talk about the layout of the area. The area that you go through is pretty much identical to the original. Like you said, it's unique and familiar at the same time. But the changes that they did put in are really are vastly improved. Like the first cabin that you go through is, instead of like being a one room shed,
Yeah.
it's pretty much like a multi a roof like cabin.
Yeah. What I liked about it is that as a returning player, it flipped my expectations on their head. You know, I went in there fully expecting things to go one way, and to avoid spoilers for anybody else out there. You know, things don't necessarily go the same way that they did in the first game. You know, you're in for a surprise. You know, the layout's flipped around just enough to where there's some similar things in there and some different things, you know, so it'll keep you on your toes. I don't want to spoil too much, but it's a fun little cabin.
Yeah, I do want to say this one thing that made me like genuinely happy was in that cabin, Leon does speak Spanish.
Oh yeah. So you know, there's a little bit of more character building for Leon and the other characters as well. Honestly, from what I've been seeing in the trailers, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah, the one thing that really caught me was the introduction. Instead of like being like Leon talking about like the fall of Umbrella, it's just talking about his experience and how like the Raccoon City incident changed him.
Yeah, and that's what I feel like the original was kind of missing. You know, it's like we lost all that time between when Leon was a recruit in Raccoon City, and then out of nowhere he's just a special agent, and we just kind of rolled with it back then. I think now they're really fleshing out their story. You know,
connecting the timeline between the two games,
connecting all the dots. You know, and I like it a lot. You know, I feel like original Leon, even though he was like a super badass, he was missing that little bit of like filling in the gaps of his story. You know,
a little bit of character that makes us relate to him.
Somebody else that we know is getting a little bit of a character
introduction.
Yeah.
Yeah, Krauser time, boy.
Oh yeah, the man himself. And I always thought that Krauser was such a badass character, but it was such an injustice
that he wasn't introduced good enough.
Yeah. A lot of people. I don't remember. Did that one game that had him and Leon come out before? Or,
it
came out after, right?
Yeah, it came on the Wii. Dark Side Chronicles.
Yeah. So during Resident Evil 4, Krauser wasn't really. He was just kind of dropped in there, and nobody really knew who he was or where he came from. But Leon obviously knew him, you know, and that kind of adds on to how. Resident Evil 4 needed a little bit of a story.
Story.
What is it called? Exposition.
Oh yeah, pretty much. That is that's what like the fourth game was missing. It's just like I would say the fourth game original was great in the gameplay, but I'm thinking that this game will be great in the story.
Yeah, But I love what they're doing with the gameplay as well. You know, I've always been a fan of like more cinematic games. You know, and I think they found a way to make the combat both cinematic and fun to play. You know, you never know what's around the next corner, and it really makes you feel like you're surviving by the skin of your teeth. You know, and that's something that the original always excelled at.
Yeah. So the next one that I want to mention is the dog character. And from what we've seen in the demo, and it's like a little tease that of like this dog in a bear trap, and it's like I still don't think that it's actually the dog.
Yeah, no, me either. But I think it is a little bit more world building, you know, to show that there is traps everywhere. You know, I think it is an Easter egg though for like the people that have played Resident Evil before, to show the dog in a bear trap that early on. But I feel like that might just be a demo thing. Maybe in the original you actually find the dog there, you know.
Oh yeah, because demos can be different to the original release. Just kind of like Resident Evil 7's demo, where it's like you're like stuck in a basement and there's like you play as like Clancy or something.
Hmm.
Yeah, and this one is like a little bit different. I love that. So
Yeah, so who knows? I definitely have faith that we'll see the dog again, you know. But maybe they want to introduce him in a new way, you know, because they definitely are taking some leeway with how they're introducing characters and how long they're sticking around, you know. That kind of brings me into like our boy Luis.
yeah, Luis. So Luis, like I love him as a character. Like his like this Hispanic like macho sexy dude.
Yeah. But I feel like he's plagued with the same problems as our other characters. You know, he's got a lack of exposition. Why is he here? What is he doing? You know, and I guess he gets a little bit more than like Krauser. You know, but I always feel like we missed a little bit of Luis. You know, like he could have stuck around a little longer.
Yeah, and like the only thing that we knew in the original is until his death, he was just like he was a researcher hired by Sadler, but like that was the only thing that we pretty much knew about him, and it's like I want to know more. And
Yeah, he definitely looks too interesting to like not have more be said about him. You know, like his where are his clothes from? You know, it almost looks like there's like a royalty to them. You know, and I mean, if he is around Sadler and Salazar, you know, how did he get in touch with them? You know,
Yeah,
give us some more, Capcom.
it definitely felt like the original was a bit more like an action film instead of like a real like story.
It was super mysterious for like the sake of it, almost. You know, instead of like actually dropping clues or explanations. I think.
Yeah, it was super campy, but again, that's the reason why we all love it.
Yeah, yeah. It's because it excelled in that, you know.
Yeah. So the next thing I want to bring up, with Luis is, he's in more of the game, and it looks like that he is a possible co-op character, which I'm really hoping for, but also I don't know if co-op would be a good idea for Luis.
Yeah. The only reason that I highly doubt that will be a co-op in the main game, you know, I think there might be like a mercenaries mode or like a side mode that may have like a co-op option. But the only reason I doubt it for the main game is because I feel like having a co-op partner takes away some of the tension from certain moments in the game that you feel like you're supposed to be fighting for your life, you know. And there's a lot of points in the original where Leon has to go off by himself, you know, and I feel like those parts would be a little difficult to redo.
Yeah. So it's like instead, maybe in this game, it's like it will be like half the gameplay will be with just Leon alone, half will be with like either Ashley or Luis.
Mm.
Yeah, because I like the parts that Luis is in. Like he's in in more of the castle section. Like even after after his death in the original.
Yeah, and that's another thing, you know, it's like now we got the question of like what's gonna happen to Luis, you know, since he obviously doesn't die in the same spot that he did last time, you know. So there's even more mystery to this guy now.
Yeah, so like maybe in this remake he might not die.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well, you know.
Or it's like I was thinking like maybe like he'll be in the jet ski with Leon and Ashley like in like a paraglider or what.
Yeah, just one of those rope surfboards just riding behind them.
Yeah, that I just kind of thought that was a little bit funny, but yeah, I'm excited to see more of Luis in this remake.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing I wanted to bring up is in this demo that we played and so far of what we've seen in the gameplay is there's not many QTEs. The only things I've seen so far are just the counterattacks with the knife and against like the chainsaw dude, but I just don't think that there's gonna be like any QTEs at all.
Yeah, it's definitely not looking like it too much, and I was one of the rare people that actually kind of liked QTEs, but after seeing like the trailer of the Krauser knife fight, you know, you could just throw all those QTEs in the trash, you know, give me some more of that.
Yeah, I was so happy when they showed that off. It's like they actually have a fully playable knife fight.
Mm-hmm.
and you can actually like. I don't know if they actually will include the guns because it just looks like it's gonna be like you're only gonna be able to use the knife.
No, it better just be a straight knife fight. No, and I was looking at it a little closely. I don't think it's gonna be as in depth as we think like the knife fight is gonna be, but I think it'll be good enough. For what it is, the moment. Of Krauser versus Leon, because they have like little QTE events during the fight where you have to like dodge him and things like that.
Yeah, and I will say this is that like QTEs are still kind of in this remake, just like in spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Like with the counterattacks.
They're blended into the combat.
Yeah,
now.
it is blended into the combat.
Which I like. I love how cinematic they've made the combat. Like in Resident Evil 4 combat was cinematic kind of, only when you were like running up and doing like executions or like kicks and stuff, but it feels like now there's a lot more options for moments like that to happen, like if you're not going in for the attack, you're deflecting, or like blocking a chainsaw or a parasite, and I like moments like that kind of break up or no, not break up, blend the line between video game and movie, like I was saying earlier.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, the next character that I do want to talk about next is everyone's favorite, the merchant. So the things I like about this new merchant is this new option that they give you with his store is trading. I like it looks like there's like gonna be like extra jewels that you can trade with them for special items that it looks like you wouldn't get in the normal store.
So it's a treasure hunt, huh?
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
So yeah, it kind of leans into like what I was saying in my wish list about using the blue medallions as a currency, at least. Like you could shoot because you could shoot down these blue medallions and like maybe you get jewels out of them, so you could trade them with a merchant, and maybe like these medallions aren't just gonna be in the village anymore. It's gonna be in throughout the whole game.
Yeah, well, I think I was watching some footage on some guys who got like to review an early copy, and they were talking about how they reduced the number of medallions that used to be in the village to like 5. So that led them to believe that there would be more medallions throughout the rest of the areas, since they're just they're like spreading them out. I don't know if they're adding more, or but it looks like they're spreading them out between the areas.
Yeah, what I also kind of like about this new merchant that I don't think a lot of people are gonna agree with is the new voice they have for him. And like I like, don't get me wrong, I love the old merchant voice.
Do you know his name, the voice actor?
No.
Here, I'll look it up while you talk.
Yeah, but the the old merchant is like had like a raspy voice. He felt like mysterious in a way, and he was just very jokey. It's just like
I loved his laugh. Anytime you bought something, like he would just thank you, stranger. And it was iconic. It was like the perfect little ad lib to play after you bought something. It always made me happy to buy just a ton of things at once.
Yeah, it's like once you get past through like a hard area, and then you see the merchant is like, hell yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you know what's crazy? I never realized that he only really has like one cutscene to like introduce him.
Yeah, and like in a window, it's just like he comes by and says, "Over here, stranger."
Yeah, and it's like he became so iconic from like that one moment. It's just, and the voice, like he only had that one introduction, and people have never forgotten him.
Yeah, and it looks like they're gonna be doing the same in this remake, but I think they're gonna add a lot more. Like I feel like he's gonna be more like the Duke in RE Village, and give like extra exposition of like what's going on. It's like he's like the secret behind like the whole story, and it's like
gotcha. So it's like he's gonna be dropping some little hints of lore almost as he talks.
Yeah.
Gotcha. But okay, so back to like the original voice actor of Resident Evil 4. That's the only thing that makes me sad is that Paul Mercier, he did both the Leon and the Merchant.
In the original?
Yes, in the original, he was both of them, bro. So that's the one thing that makes me kind of sad is that you know, when people think of Leon's like real voice, they think of Resident Evil 4 Leon almost, you know? Like I feel like that's people's default go-to Leon.
Yeah, just from like the little quips that he says, like, "Where's everyone going? Bingo."
Yeah, that's all Paul Mercier, bro. It just blew my mind that it's he's the merchant as well, bro.
Bro, that dude is a freaking
Talented.
legend.
I would have been stoked if they brought him back, you know, because like I'm not too much of a stickler about getting new voices, and you know I understand how these things go. It's a business, you know, but it does kill a little bit of my immersion when like I hear like a slightly different voice, you know. But beggars can't be choosers. Got to do with what you got. Got to do with what you got. Jesus.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, so anyway, the next thing I want to point out is it doesn't seem like it, but we haven't seen enough footage to deny it. So the shooting range and bottle caps. Now, so far, I don't think that they're gonna add this to the game.
Well, I forget how you got the bottle caps. How did you get them?
In the original, you play like some rounds in the shooting range to get points, and the more points you get, the more bottle caps you receive. And I feel like in the original, it just kind of felt like a bit archaic, and it doesn't really fit new Resident Evil's style. But who knows? We might see it.
I hope that they bring back the collectibles in some way, you know, because like that's always appealed to like a certain set of gamers, you know.
Yeah, I definitely.
I'm definitely not a collector, but I am like a lore hunter, you know, and like reading item descriptions, you know. Some people say it's boring. I like it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I like to collect all like the models, all the 2D art, and all the extra stuff.
You just like to see that 100%.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, the next thing I want to bring up that I'm kind of disappointed in, and for the fact that we haven't seen it and it might not be in the game at all, blue herbs.
Yeah, man, I don't know, bro. I never really liked poison in games, you know, I quit playing Dark Souls once I hit the bottom of Blight Town and realized it was a poison lake, dude.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. It's just like I just like the idea of just having poison and just like you can get by in all four herbs.
Yeah, you know what, bro? Honestly, being a little older, you know, like playing video games, I do like a little bit more of a challenge, you know. But with poison, you gotta be real careful, you know, because like a lot of the times poison could like make or break a game, you know. Like sometimes it does well with adding to the tension, but a lot of the times people can't wrap their heads around it and they just like give up or stop playing the game.
Like I guess it could be a little bit of annoying, but here's an idea. What if you like throughout the game you start getting hallucinations because like Leon is infected with Las Plagas?
That would be a dope mechanic.
And you can use the blue herbs to like kind of ease the hallucinations.
You know what? That would actually be a pretty cool like mechanic. Like maybe it just like starts like blurring your screen out. Maybe it doesn't kill you. You know, I feel like killing you would maybe be too much. You know.
Yeah. It just
well, maybe I don't know. I wouldn't put it past Resident Evil. You know, to have a mechanic like that. But I honestly with it like blocking up your screen, you know, or like giving
like,
you hallucinations. That's smart.
Like making your screen like nauseous.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think I speak for all gamers here when I say I think we're just tired of poison. You know, let's find something else. Like I'll literally take that madness mechanic that you're talking about, bro, instead of poison. You know, like I don't know. It just something. I'm tired of it. After like 10, 20 years of poison, bro, I can't do it no more.
Like you experienced poison in real life?
Yeah, I'm poisoned now, bro. Toxic effect.
Alright, so the next character I want to bring up is the Big Cheese. And what we've seen so far in the trailers, he's pretty much, we're all hoping that he's going to be a Mr. X type enemy. Like he's gonna be following you throughout the village. He's gonna be like chasing you throughout huge sections.
I mean, they already have the code. It'd be a real waste to like not just slap on Mr. X's code and then give him some like special abilities, you know?
Yeah, just the stalker thing, the stalkery mechanic. I love it so much because it just gives you a sense in your stomach that even if you're like in like a empty area, you're really never safe.
Right.
It never you never really feel safe.
Yeah, and I've always loved how like Resident Evil does like certain sections of their games where they just make you feel truly defenseless, almost, you know, and you have to figure out another way of getting around objectives. Some people call them gimmick bosses, you know. I don't care. For a first time playthrough, those types of experiences are always great.
Yeah, like I said in my wish list, like you have Jack, Mr. X, Nemesis, and Lady D. Like, come on, man.
You gotta join the crew.
Gotta join the crew, the stock crew,
The OG, bro, the big cheese.
the big cheese. And also, like in the trailers, he has like a hat, so it really
It's
matches.
just paying homage to
Mr.
Mr. X.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, like most of those dudes are just like giant, like big black straitjacket dudes.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the big cheese had the look before it was even a thing, you know?
Yeah, pretty much. All right. Next is the Delago. Wow.
Delago.
Next up is the Delago.
Delago.
So this one I'm still not sure because in my wish list I said I wanted this boss to be optional, where you can like cut through his area and then cut back. Like so, like even if you don't want to fight him, you have to go back through his area.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't seem that way, even though like the boss itself is gonna be included like with the spears and everything. But I don't know if you're gonna have to be forced to fight him. So
Yeah, it'd be nice to have it be like an optional thing where you gotta just like sneak by him or go around islands and stuff and try not to get caught. Or you could even like activate like a chase scene where he's just like right behind you and you're just trying to sail away or something. I don't know. I think they could really get creative with that if they. But you know, I wouldn't be mad either if it's just like a revamped boss fight. But I really did like that idea that you had in your wish list. I think it's definitely a more creative take on that.
yeah, but also that what kind of got me confused is in the demo that we played, it said that Ashley is somewhere near the lake.
Yeah.
And not in the church. So maybe like they'll be transporting Ashley through the lake, and maybe
Maybe you'll just be like, well, seeing her from a distance or something.
yeah, instead of having the dude tossed in the lake, because yeah, he instead of in the lake, he's in the basement.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it's like maybe they have like a third cop or something.
Who knows? You know that's what I like though about this new remake is that they changed just enough around to where it feels like a fresh experience, and the core elements that made Resident Evil 4 good in the first place are still there.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I just hope that they really keep their treasure hunting mechanics in. You know, I hope those are really fleshed out and good because I really like the original like Resident Evil 4 put together treasures system that they had, you know.
Yeah.
So I hope that this new system still does that justice.
Yeah, I love collectibles. So the next thing I want to talk about is the castle enemies. They're ranging from cultists to Garradors to suits of armor.
Yeah, you know, I seen that there was actually a female cultist. I think I seen one.
Oh yeah, it was in the background in like the shadows or something.
No, it was a bald lady, but she screamed like a girl, you know, and looked like a girl.
Oh yeah.
But she was in the castle. I thought that was interesting. You know, there's a lot of different
enemies.
new enemies. You know, I seen like there's like the bull enemy, but let me go back to the castle. You know, I really like the new castle that they're making. You know, I like it just feels very ominous. You know, and it just feels like you're not really supposed to be there.
Yeah, just like a castle should be.
Right.
Yeah, like just like in the original, it's very ominous. In like you're like surrounded by these cultists like whispering like demonic words at you.
Yeah, but I feel like they've done a very good job with world building it now, because like the OG castle was creepy, right? It was weird, it was creepy that all those guys were there, the bunch of cultists, you know. But like in the new one, it's more horrifying, you know. Like there's a lot of creepy going on in there, you
Yeah.
know, and people are transforming right in front of you.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. It looks crazy.
And what popped in my head when I saw one of the trailers was the instead one of the Plaga's heads, instead of coming out of their head, it comes out from their back.
Yeah.
And the guy was chasing at you super fast, and that honestly shocked me because like usually like the Plaga heads are just slow and with just like giant like tentacles coming out of their like face or something. But like in the one that's coming out of their back looks like the third Plaga type with like the spider,
Right.
like the spider.
Yeah,
claws.
it looked to me in that video. It looked like the Plagas jumped on his back. I don't know if it did or if it came out of his back, you know. But the enemies are definitely a lot faster now.
Yeah.
So you got to be on point with that. And it seems like there's more of them too. You know, I think with the Resident Evil 4, the OG one, I think it was toned down because the controls were so tanky and slow, you know.
Yeah.
But now that you can move fast, they got to give you more enemies and faster enemies.
Yeah. Unlike in my wish list where I said more stealthier enemies, they really went with the quantity of enemies in this. But
Yeah.
even still, they're more stealthy and they're more how do you say it? More they're more tactical.
Yeah, they're strategic, like in Call of Duty Zombies, you know. They're not. You can't just train these guys around. You know, they're smart. They'll set up like little ambushes. They'll get in front of the areas where you can go. It's almost like the way that they're coded. They're blocking off potential paths.
they block off your multiple paths. Like even like when I was in the demo, I wanted to go past the barn and go through the behind the house, but they were blocking that side too. So when I turned around, the two paths that I went through, they were both blocked by enemies.
Yeah, that's one thing. They've put a lot of time and effort into these special like mob areas where you're gonna get swarmed. Like even from the demo, you could just tell that like Dr. Salvador randomly comes in and like cuts down a path that you were gonna take, just making it impossible for you to go that way anymore.
Yeah, it really makes you think that there's nowhere you can run.
Yeah, but that's the magic of the game. You know, that's what I love, is surviving by the skin of your teeth, finding a way out when there's no way out to be seen. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I really like that. The Gyarados are back. I don't know what other castle enemies will return, but like I hope that the suits of armor come back. I've written it down that like the suits of armor are like filled with plagas, and like the more you damage them, the more they come out. And I really hope they do something like that, or even just include the armored dudes in general, because those guys are really cool.
Yeah, I hope they do find a way to like explain why they're like moving around though, you know, because I don't think that was ever explained in the first one, was it?
No,
They're just like some ghost suits of armor.
but I'm pretty sure like in that game it was explained by like the plagas themselves are controlling the suits of armor.
Oh, okay, yeah, it'd be nice to see them pop out of the armor, like you were saying in your prediction.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on the new Salazar?
Salazar? Well, I always thought that Salazar was a good character. I honestly think that he stole the spotlight from Sadler, you know. Honestly, I don't know about anybody else, but I feel like when I played through Resident Evil 4, Sadler was a very forgettable character, you know. Years later, I didn't even remember his name. But as for Salazar, I feel like I always remembered Salazar and his two bodyguards and their boss fight, you know. But I feel like Sadler sadly took a back seat to that, even though his boss fight is kind of cool, you know. I feel like Salazar, with his personality and charm, just kind of steals the spotlight from Sadler.
Yeah, it really does. Like I even said it in like my wish list, where it's like he's like has like a kind of a sinister like mood to him, even though he was like very jokingly childish.
Yeah, you definitely got the feeling that you shouldn't mess with this guy, even though he's acting like a big man. Well, maybe that's why you get the feeling that you shouldn't mess with him, because he'll just throw you in the dungeon if he sees fit, you know? It's almost like when kids became kings back in the day, like in Game of Thrones or something.
Mm.
No one man should have all that power, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, yeah, that's kind of like what he kind of is, but he's 20 years old. That's what he said in the original. It's like, I'm only 20 years old. And so, like, I guess it kind of makes sense. Like, he's a joking child, man.
Yeah, and he's probably never done like a hard day of work in his life, you know. You kind of get that vibe that he's just like a spoiled, like rich noble, you know, and that he's kind of like always had his way.
Yeah.
Which was, you know, cool. You know, I liked having to go off against like a character like that doesn't really like care about like what's going on with you. You know, like Salazar's got the like the biggest ego almost that you see in gaming. Yeah. And it's really cool to see like an evil character that's just almost like will trample you without even knowing that you're there, because that's just how he lives his life.
Yeah. The one thing that like that I found hilarious that you kind of found that you didn't like about the new design of Salazar was he didn't have his iconic hat.
Yeah, what's up with that, dude?
Like, I think it like yeah, like the hat was kind of like instead of a hat, he just has like a George Washington wig.
Yeah.
But it definitely fits, like it still fits the vibe of like a Spaniard,
yeah, like
a royal Spaniard,
like a noble person. Yeah, but I think the hat was really cool, you know, and it was just one of those things that I associated with him as a character, you know. But I guess at the end of the day, it's not too big of a deal. But Capcom, bring back the hat 2025.
2025.
When they make the remake.
The remake. Yeah. One thing I written down here was Ada Wong. I wanted to talk about her because the only things that we've seen were just like little clips of cutscenes, not really like in game. And the thing about her that a lot of people kind of are upset with is the voice. The voice of Ada was it's not the same as like RE2 remake, so like it was kind of confusing for most people.
Yeah.
And like it doesn't sound as good. But like with voices, I don't really mind as long as like they it doesn't have to fit the character, as long as it's a good performance. That's all I really care about.
Yeah, I feel like yeah, sometimes there's not much you can do in that department, you know. So we can only hope that the performance lives up to the hype, you know. But that wouldn't be the fault of the actress in any way, you know. Mm-hmm. I'm sure she's probably doing her best, you know.
Yeah, you can only do best with what you got.
Yeah, you know, those are things that are outside the control of how we ideally want the game to be, you know.
I know.
So to all those people that are upset about it, I just want to say, get over it.
Get over it. Get over it.
Get over it.
It's just a game.
It'll be all right, guys. Don't worry.
It's only a game. Why you have to be mad? Yeah. I know I'm gonna be a hypocrite for saying this because like I loved how every section of the game is still there, but there are some areas that I don't like. Like for example, there's if in the original game there's a lava room in the castle section with like giant dragon statues that like spray fire on you, and I don't know. It's just something about that area that just really.
It's like it's from another game almost. Like it doesn't really belong there. I don't know. That's how I would put that section.
Yeah, it feels more like it's for like from a Devil May Cry game.
Yeah, you know, and honestly, like I feel like Resident Evil 4, even in the original, like really pushed the limits of like areas, you know. Like I feel like once you start getting into like the labs and the prison, it's like, well, what the heck are we freaking doing over here, you know? Like I feel like it kind of messes up the theme, almost changing the setting that drastically, you know.
Yeah.
Because like I think okay, from village to castle, that makes sense. You know, that's logical. Okay, and even like the labs, you know, you gotta include Umbrella in there some way somehow. But once you start like running into guys with fucking machine guns, it's like, whoa, okay, like this just turned into a shooter. This isn't survival horror anymore. There's just there's just something about getting chased by a bunch of guys with like pitchforks and axes that like adds so much to the survival horror aspect. You know, like once people start picking up guns, you know, it's like a cover shooter, and I don't think I don't really consider that survival horror. You know.
I agree with that. Yeah, like the enemies like with machine guns and rocket launchers, they don't really like add anything to like the horror aspect. They just like kind of make it feel like more of a shooter.
Yeah, you know, I want to fight like a monster, a zombie, bro, or like a homeless man with a knife. You know, I don't really want to have a shootout in a Resident Evil game. You know, where it's like the whole thing about Resident Evil is that you're fighting against like unknown horrors. You know, it's almost like very H.P. Lovecraft in that way. You know, it's like a fear of the unknown. Let's see how much you can take and come out alive.
Yeah, that sounds really really good.
You know, I mean, that's what I've always liked in like a survival horror game. You know, is like barely making it through with the skin of your teeth. You know, and even the original Resident Evil 4 made you feel the impact of it. You know, like when you were injured, you saw it. You know, and you were slower and you just really felt that impact, you know, of survival horror.
Yeah, seeing like you're like a hair like a beard hair away from death.
Yeah,
That's like intense. That's so intense. It gives you
yeah, and the original did that really well, you know, and I'm excited to see how the remake can follow up on that, you know, and just like add more ambiance, you know, make you feel more like Leon's in a very dire situation, you know, and I'm sure they will, because I love the improvements in Resident Evil, the Resident Evil 2 remake, where it just seems like the character's much more involved in the world, like they actually live in the world, you know.
Yeah.
They're affected by the things around it.
Yeah, and it seems like in this game where it's like Leon is in like he's been through this kind of stuff before, but not in the level that is in like with Las Plagas and like villagers like attacking you with like weapons and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, this is like almost like Leon's hero story, you know. Like the first one was a rookie surviving against all odds, you know. Whereas this one is like Leon showing what he's really made of, you know, like he's prepared for this. This is essentially what he's living for at this point in time, is to fight against Raccoon City ever happening again. So there's like this new level of determination and resolve to Leon, you know, that he's not gonna let that happen again, you know.
Things must be different.
Yeah, you know, literally, you know, and I'm really excited to see
Yeah.
you know, how they make those connections to Resident Evil 2, because they had some of them in at the very beginning of Resident Evil 4, but I don't think they do too much to show how that's affected Leon or how he's processed that.
Yeah, they didn't really expand on like the continuation of RE2 to RE4.
Yeah, you know, they just kind of went rookie aging, you know, deal with it. but not that I'm complaining. I mean, the game came out great, you know, but I definitely would like to see Capcom fill in some of those blanks, you know.
Yeah, like improving the story 100 times more.
Yeah, you know, just fleshing it out, you know, like, you know, especially with the technology they have now, bro, I really hope that they take the opportunity to just flesh it out, honestly. Connect any dots that needed connecting, and getting rid of any gunk that was mucking up the game.
Yeah, I think that's like a huge improvement that I 100% support, and like, and that's what I was wanting to get to. The theme of the island. It looks like just from that one little bit, it seems like they're still gonna keep the military aspect of the island, but like it's only just like one single scene, so I can't really like theorize. It's just from that.
Hmm.
I'm still kind of holding hope that like the island is like more than just a military base.
Please, Capcom, bring back survival horror on the island. I feel like that's what it was missing. You know, the first part of the well, I don't know if it's the first part, but like once you get into the labs and you got the regenerators, chef's kiss. You know that part was great. But as soon as like you leave, like that's all gone, and you're like, I guess you do have like an amped up energy of like trying to keep moving from guy to guy and staying alive, but I feel like a lot of that is thrown on hold once people start picking up weapons. You know, like you have to move along with slower. Combat becomes a lot, honestly, a lot less chaotic in a way because you're holding up somewhere and picking guys off one by one instead of trying to adapt to people coming at you from all angles. You know, I think they should. I don't know. I think they should try to revamp that in a way that still makes sense with like the lab setting, but I don't know. I think they need to reduce the military aspect just a bit, you know.
Yeah, they scale over the horror moments.
Yeah, you know, and that's almost like the same problem that people started having with Resident Evil 5 and 6. You know, like the action just made the survival horror take a backseat. Even though I think that 6 did it a little better than 5, at least in a survival horror aspect. You know, 5 definitely had better, almost not mechanics, but it was definitely more fun with a friend. I would say, Resident Evil 5.
Yeah, I could agree with that, but I just don't. I'm just not. I'm still not a huge fan of 6. All right, and so the next one I'm going to be talking about are the enemies that appear in the island. You talked about regenerators. Yeah, that's top tier enemies. That's extremely scary crap. But like the soldiers themselves, I wanted them to be like designed as like actual like prisoners or it's like police like guards or something like that. And
Yeah, maybe prisoners or guards would still kind of keep the survival horror aspect, but I would really like them to keep the guns down to a low, you know.
the machine gun guy, like I feel like that guy has to.
Yeah, he's got to go, you know. They give him like 2 hatchets or something. I don't know. It's just too much technology, especially. I think it almost throws off the theme, you know. That might be what I don't like about it.
And like these are like mind controlled. They're not zombies. They're mind controlled humans. So like they can't learn how to like use guns.
Right. You know, and that's another thing, bro. Like, they're almost too human, you know. Like I think if you have a parasite in you, you should almost move unnaturally, unhuman, because you're not human at that point. You're something being controlled by something else, you know, something that's inhuman. Like in Sekiro, bro. In Sekiro, there's these centipedes that burrow into like people and make them immortal, you know. But like when you reveal the centipede, you see that the people move around differently. Like there's an ape in there that's immortal, bro. And as soon as you reveal the centipede, the ape doesn't move like an ape anymore. It starts moving like a centipede. And I think that that's kind of what they should do. But with the parasite, you know, like how would a parasite move if it entered somebody's body? You know, probably not like a human.
Yeah.
You know, so I think they should try to incorporate elements like that.
I still haven't played Sekiro. I really should play that game.
It's a great game. Great game.
Yeah. One enemy that really, really ticks me off is the soldiers with the giant hammer and like the freaking like suit of armor. Those guys are stupid. I'll say that. Those guys are
Soldier with the giant hammer.
the hammer soldiers. I'll put it up right here. Like these guys, like they have like this one like little iron thing on their face. It's supposed to. I don't know what they were going for with that design, but those guys look really, really dumb.
Oh right, yeah. I feel like even those guys, like, even though they are more survival horror-y, they look like they belong in like cyberpunk or something, you know. I don't think these guys go with the theme at all. If you guys are wondering, this is Soldier with Hammer. We'll put a picture right here for you guys.
Yeah, like these. Yeah, the guy. Yeah, the thing I hate about it. Yeah, it's like they have giant like spiky armors. Like, oh god, I'm strong. I got spikes in my armor. I got spikes in my hammer. I can't kill you right now. But it's like you can just shoot them in the face with like a magnum, and their head will just
Mm.
done. They're killed. It's just yeah, just I don't know. Redesign this, Capcom. They look stupid this way.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, the prison was definitely
Like a
the
mixed
weakest
bag.
the weakest link, I would say. You know, I mean, the regenerators were great, bro. That whole sequence was freaking dope. You know, your blood is pumping. You know, survival horrors at a 10 at that point, and it's like Capcom doesn't hold your hand either at that point.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's honestly really cool. You know, like you really are thrown into a situation where you have to figure out how to survive in the next couple of seconds. You know.
Mhm. Oh, the one last thing that I want to mention of the island is Krauser. Now Krauser, like we've talked about, like yeah, we got a fully playable knife fight. That's cool. That's dope. But one thing I would like to see is their backstory, Leon and Krauser's backstory, because they did in some gameplay somewhere they did mention a little. There was like a slight reference to a previous mode to a previous game of where Leon and Krauser were involved.
You know, it'd be cool if they like tied it in somehow. If not, like, you know, if they don't do it during the game, like put in a sequence where you get to see what's going on, or through flashbacks. I think it'd be really cool for them to like just throw in a mission or something after the fact, or even a DLC. You know, I'd pay for like a Krauser DLC to see what went on with them. Um, you, I just think, or even like they could make it like a mercenary stage or something. You know, I don't know, but I think that they could definitely do like an extra mode or something that like just, you know, like they had Ada Wong's, what was it, like Separate Ways.
Yeah, separate ways.
They could do something not necessarily Separate Ways, but you know, just like include a couple of like missions or a side level where you just kind of see why Krauser and Leon are at odds.
Hmm. Yeah.
You know, something to help explain that, because I think a lot of people didn't know that who Krauser even was when he popped up and just had this beef with Leon.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, like, yeah, he was introduced out of nowhere when the game released. He was just introduced out of nowhere. It's like, who the hell is this guy? Who this guy with the red beret? And it's like, and later games they added a little side mode where they did include a backstory of Leon and Krauser. So, but like when the game released, this guy was completely out of nowhere. Yeah, I hope they do add like some story like in
Yeah.
like the form of DLC.
Yeah, it really is like a big injustice that Krauser never got more love in like mainstream games. You know, I feel like he had such a great setup and potential to be just such a super cool character. You know, like he was mysterious. He obviously had history with Leon, and I feel like they could have done a lot more with his character than just give him like one Wii game that not a lot of people got the chance to experience.
Yeah. So I really hope like yeah, because like for new players, it's gonna be very very confusing of like,
Right.
who the hell is this guy?
Yeah, you know, and they gotta do him justice. You know, if you're gonna introduce a character like that and have him have so much history with the main character, it's like you gotta explain why that's there and what's going on with that. You know.
Yeah, and develop their relationship a little bit more. Like even if they introduce him, and Leon and Krauser meet again, like they're just like, oh, they're old. It's just like in the original, it's just like, oh, old buddies now fighting to the death. But it's like like in the Wii game, it's like Leon knows him because like of a mission, and so he has like that connection. But now that he has to fight him, and even if in his like infection in his Plaga form, like there's like no emotion to it. So I hope
Yeah.
the emotion will be there.
Yeah, you know you know when they were fighting, it was like they barely knew each other. You know, I feel like they need to include more dialogue almost to maybe give us hints to what happened with between them, you know, or like you know, they don't have to directly tell us like I am Krauser and we served in this camp and we did this and that, you know, but like they could include some sort of dialogue that allows us to fill in the blanks as to like who Krauser is and why he's got beef with Leon.
Yeah.
And you know, and I think he deserves that. You know, make Krauser great again.
I agree with that. The next one was that I'm going to be talking about is the helicopter section, because this is when the game reaches a full like action.
Mm-hmm. You know, I did it. I don't. I don't know. The helicopter scene is a little bit over the top, but I don't really
hate it.
I don't really. I think it could be done in a way that it could add to the intensity. You know, like running away from a helicopter that's shooting at you is always gonna be cool or intense. You know, but sitting behind some concrete waiting for it to shoot so that you can move is, I don't think, that fun. You know.
Yeah, it's just like I'm waiting for this guy to shoot this guy so I can pass through this area.
You know, so I think they, because they're keeping it in, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it could be done more tastefully than you know, just having it become like a straight on shooter, you know.
Yeah.
I think it could be done in a way that maybe it like locks off little small areas where you can fight, you know, and you got to use like the terrain to your advantage while you're still fighting off like hordes of enemies.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be a nice touch to the survival horror, since it would keep you on your toes, you know. Like you got not only have to pay attention to the horde surrounding you, but you got to pay attention to where you're standing compared to the helicopter.
Yeah. Like what I wrote down for this one was just have it be like a stealth, like in like a stealth area where it's like the helicopter can't help you because there's too many like gun dudes that will shoot him down right away. So it's like you have to stealthily like kill all the gun dudes so he can actually help you out. But I don't see that anywhere, but I'm still kind of like,
that's another thing, bro. Now that you mention it, stealth. It's in the game now.
So it's kind of we'll just have to wait until we actually get to that part to see if there will be like a stealth section for that.
Yeah,
part.
well, we've seen a little bit of the gameplay. I mean, you can definitely sneak around certain areas. You know, I doubt that they'll let you sneak past every area in the game. You know, they've got to have those parts of the game where you just have caught and you have to deal with against you have to survive against the odds, basically. You know, because that's part of what makes Resident Evil games great. You know, is that it's almost like you're just constantly getting berated by impossible odds.
Yeah. Now I want to talk about this guy because he's one of the most important antagonists of the game, Sadler. I know you said like he's like not like your favorite like villain in the game, and I agree with that because like even though like he's supposed to be like a menacing boss, like I just didn't really feel that much for him.
Yeah, I feel like he is a very forgettable villain because I think that you barely see him, you know, and then when you do see him, like I don't think he says anything too crazy that like sticks with you, and then he's just gone before anything, you know. Like that's why I think like Salazar was almost more memorable, because he was just constantly taunting you. It's almost like he was almost like a Handsome Jack character in a way, you know, like how Handsome Jack in Borderlands 2 is just constantly messing with you throughout the whole way. You know, that's why I think that Salazar almost had more character than Adler, you know. Even though Adler's boss fight was pretty cool and dramatic, you know, I actually really liked the boss fight. I feel like Sadler as a character just was very forgettable, you know. He wasn't as involved as he probably should have been to be the main antagonist.
Yeah, he could do more, and that's what I think they're doing with him in this remake. Like we see him a little bit more. He has like a slightly more menacing look to him. Like I don't know if you've seen it, but like he has like glowing eyes for his design, and also I don't know what is going on with his head, well, like instead of his normal hair, it's like a parasite like coming like is like he has this very veiny on the top of his head, so
Yeah.
it looks like a plaga is like taking over like his head,
Mhm.
which I kind of like. It looks very like menacing and sinister. It's like
Yeah. You know, and honestly, I don't know how they could make Adler better, but I feel like maybe if they include like scenes of how of him just doing the work that he's researching, you know, like maybe we show like him putting orders out to like to kidnap villagers or something, you know, or maybe he like does like a horrendous act in front of us, you know. They need something to like solidify in our minds that this guy is the real deal,
yeah,
you know, like they did it for the big cheese and they did it for Salazar really well. You know, like we understand right from the bat that those guys don't mess around. Whereas with Sadler, it's like, yeah, you come by every now and then, but what are you really doing?
yeah. I understand like he's supposed to be like the guy who's pulling all the strings,
Right, the puppeteer.
but like you don't actually,
You don't get that feeling,
yeah,
you
you
know?
don't really get that feeling. But like that's what I said in my wish list was like have like an like origin to the village like infection, like be like you play as one of the villagers, and like right when like all the villagers are have starting to become infected with las plagas. Like I think that would be a really cool idea.
Yeah, like the sort of like in Resident Evil 7 when they had the little survival
Oh
scenarios
yeah,
that
like
expanded on the
yeah,
lore. Honestly, those were really cool. They need to bring those back, you know. And it's a great opportunity for Capcom to like add lore to certain situations, you know. Like what they did with who was the camera guy on Resident Evil 7?
the can
Clancy.
yeah, Clancy.
Clancy. That honestly, I thought that was a really smart move, bro, and I really liked how it added more to like the whole story of Resident Evil 7, you know.
Mhm.
So they could definitely do something like that, but like I was saying earlier, like maybe they'll have like a Krauser storyline, you know, or like a before the outbreak storyline, like you're talking about.
Mhm.
I think that would be. I've always liked the special scenarios, you know, and if they did anything like Resident Evil 2, I hope they do that.
Yeah. Lastly, for like what's in the main game that I wanted to talk about is Ashley. I know you kind of talked about Ashley a little bit, but like this is what I've really wanted to talk about from the start was Ashley. Like yeah, her AI is like highly improved. Where it's
Hmm.
like you run, you can actually tell her to do different actions like go the other way, run this way. You could tell her like she can dodge a little bit,
Hmm.
but then like when she does get captured, she like kind of like I don't know. She kind of like tries to run back instead of stay there.
Yeah, and honestly, I never like I know a lot of people didn't really like Ashley, but me personally, like I never really had a problem with taking care of Ashley. I thought it added a lot to the game, you
Yeah,
know.
me neither.
But I do agree that her AI probably needed some tuning up. You know, like the fact that she could just follow you around like a lost puppy, you know. I feel like she needed more realistic movements, you know, to keep the immersion going.
Yeah, and like some parts of the game, it can get mildly frustrating because like
But
she's not like following you at sometimes, but like
right, but my thing is like the whole reason Leon is there is to save the president's daughter. You can't get mad at Ashley for being there when that's the whole reason that
why
Leon's
she's
there.
there. Yeah,
You know, like what the are you really complaining about, bro? Like, you know, like you do your damn job.
yeah.
No, but I do like that they're giving her more realism, really. You
Yeah,
know, like I want to see her like try to dodge attacks, try to get away from people. I don't want her to just follow me like a puppy dog. You know, like
yeah. She like they like played her as like this defenseless person who can't fight back for herself. Well, in this one, she can like run more,
yeah,
and and that's what I've written down here. But also in like in cutscenes and stuff, her character is more improved. Like she's like more friendly to Leon because he's he's her savior, so like he needs to like be nice and like.
Yeah, honestly, that's. I think that's one thing that I kind of like brushed off when I was younger, and I didn't realize it. But like thinking back on it, like a lot of the dialogue in this game was like really weird, you know, and like off, especially between Leon and Ashley. It almost like didn't make sense sometimes how Ashley would react to certain things.
The interactions were kind of off in some points, and I've written down here the one cutscene that really ticked me off was the one where it's like Ashley is coughing up blood, and then she like when Leon comes up to her and says like, "Are you okay?" And she's like pushes him away and says like, "I'm fine, leave me alone."
Yeah.
And she ends up getting captured because of that.
Yeah, and it's like, in what world would that happen? You know?
Yeah, it's like I can understand it's like in that situation it's like she's freaking out, so like she probably wouldn't make the best like decision, but like come on.
Yeah, there's definitely a better way to do those scenes, and from what we're seeing in the trailers, it seems like they definitely are putting some effort into making the conversation between characters flow a lot more naturally.
Yeah,
you know.
And that brings me like to another idea is like, throughout like the second and third trailer, it shows more of the mind control aspect of Las Plagas. There's in one scene there was like Ashley holds a knife against against Leon and be like, "Temperance, child," and it's like you could see how like the plaga is taking over her like mind and making her act wildly.
Right, and that's kind of what I was getting into earlier when I was saying that like the characters should move a certain way when they got a parasite inside them. You know, they wouldn't necessarily move like humans, or if they are moving like humans, like it'd be something like
mind control.
Yeah, something like mind control. Like you'd see effects of it, like on Ashley. You know, where she's trying to like fight off the mind control. You know, like I feel like there should be some sort of effects like that. You know, they shouldn't. There should be something off about the characters, you know.
Yeah. And I'm really glad that they're bringing back more Ashley gameplay, where it's like you're in the dark and with like a lantern and stuff. I just hope that they do more gameplay sections with Ashley.
Yeah, and you know, I didn't even mind it. I thought it was like a fresh pace breaker. How would you say that? Like it broke up the pace nicely where it came in the original the Ashley section. Although I do hope they improve it. It was a little simplistic, but it was kind of cool to like see how Ashley deals with situations. You know.
Yeah, and also it just kind of it was gone too soon. I wanted to do a little bit more with that. You know.
Right. Yeah.
I was like reading down like my bullet points, and I had written down no ballistics.
Ballistics.
Yeah, like you know that scene where like in the house is like Luis mentions Ashley's ballistics. Yeah, that's not in the game anymore.
What are ballistics? Oh. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh, Luis.
Poor
not in my 2023.
No. It's like he would be canceled for that.
Yeah, imagine the game gets Resident Evil 4 canceled.
But it's like, come on. He's a Hispanic god. He's like that with the ladies.
He's the macho man, you know, and people like that actually exist in the world, you know, and but being a mainstream title, the only way that you can get these games released is by being pretty PG, you know.
Even though this is a rated M for mature, violent ass game.
Yeah, bro. The crazy thing is that I feel like it's the people that don't play the games that complain. But anyways, let's not get off topic.
Yeah.
You know.
So yeah, the other thing I have here is I hope that they include Ada's campaign, because like Separate Ways is good, like really good, and I hope they do more with Ada's like the perspective and stuff. Like what she does behind the scenes.
Yeah, I like. Maybe they could do it like. Well, I don't know. I never finished the Resident Evil 6, Ada campaign. You know, but I just hope that maybe it could fill in more of the blanks, you know, instead of just you know, maybe you could see Leon more during it, you know, and just like figure out what Ada's doing in more detail, you know. And Ada's a mysterious character. Maybe we could get some background on Ada.
Yeah, like Ada, like I feel like Ada like has more like a more personality in like this version, because Ada's kind of like being like Leon's ghost, and like they had to include more backstory with Leon and Ada, because after the RE2, like they were kind of separated because like Leon thought Ada had died,
Mm.
so it would be like Leon thinking that this is just Ada's ghost like haunting him,
Right.
and yeah. I want to know more of like how Ada like got in contact with Wesker, because like that's one of the plot holes that
Yeah, that
was kind of missed in the original.
right.
It's like, how did Leon know that? And it's like, so it is true, you working with Wesker.
Yeah, they definitely need to fill in some of those plot holes.
Yeah.
You know, especially with you know, Wesker being such a big part of the Resident Evil universe. You know, yeah, like that's another thing. What the hell does Wesker want here? I guess he's just doing research, right?
Yeah, and like the Plagas, like to like, because I think yeah, Plagas was like one of the main reasons that it developed the Ouroboros, right?
Yep. It's similar.
Yeah.
They are similar, the Plagas to the World Wars, because I forget that Resident Evil 4 was the first one to take a turn like away from zombies,
Yeah.
because the mobbing style is so similar to like a zombie game almost, you know. But yeah, I guess like they should take the chance to make the Plagas you know, show the differences in the Plagas compared to a zombie, you know, try to expand on what makes the Plagas unique. Maybe even add more to like the lore of the Plagas and how it functions, how it actually works, you know.
Yeah. Oh damn it! Another thing I missed was Ashley can climb down ladders.
Oh right, yeah, because you had to catch her every time.
Yeah, so now in this game she can actually climb down ladders. Thank God.
You think they'll still have the Easter egg when you try to like?
Oh,
never mind. No, never mind. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
You know?
what are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but I doubt it.
Yeah, I somehow doubt it. Okay, moving on.
If you know what we're talking about, you're disgusting.
You're disgusting. All right, the next one I want to bring up is Mercenaries. Now they did mention.
Mercenaries.
Yeah, they did mention Mercenaries, but I have one. But I think this might really piss you off.
What? It's gonna be like Resident Evil 8?
No. So basically, Mercenaries, from what I've heard and what I've heard from like other people in other channels, Mercenaries, it won't be in the game on release.
That's fine.
Yeah, like it will be added later as free DLC.
That's fine, bro. Dude, I've played freaking GTA and Red Dead, bro. Those games literally withhold the online from you for like a month or two before you could touch it.
Yeah.
At least when they first come out.
Well, yeah, but like I feel like Mercenaries is such a like big mode that a lot of people like really love.
As long as it's free, bro. If they make us pay for it, I'm gonna be a little upset.
Yeah, I understand that. It's like, but it's like, it's something that like modern gaming that really pisses me off is that like modes like that, like they're just holding away modes so they could sell it later on as DLC when it should be in the game on day one.
Yeah.
But like when it's free, if it's free, then I can deal with it. But it's like, come on, like why couldn't it be on day one? Like they could have just delayed the game a little bit. I don't know.
I don't mind adding on the content after the fact, as long as they don't. I would really be upset if they charged you for it, especially if they're gonna go full price with this game, you know, because that was something that came with the original games, you know. So you can't tell me that they can't do that. especially what we have like nowadays. You know, they already developed the whole game. How hard would it be to just throw a character model in and throw them in a level? You know.
Yeah, I guess so. Uh-huh.
I'd be no. I mean, honestly, I'd be a little upset if they try to squeeze a little more money. Look, I would probably still pay it, but
Like,
I'd be a little upset.
if it has more quantity and quality, then yes, I would happily pay for it more.
Yeah, I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see what they got cooking. You know.
Yeah, like maybe they'll add like new characters, maps, and other crap. But
Well, they definitely should add new characters. I mean, they did it for 8, you know, and if they could do it in first person, I'm pretty sure they could do it in third person.
yeah,
And I mean, they did it on the GameCube, bro. If like that's the thing, bro. I'd be upset if they gave us less content on the remake than they did on the GameCube, bro. Because the GameCube, like that generation of games, really gave you everything like on day one.
yeah,
Like I don't know, like I'm going off tangent, but this new style of gaming marketing, bro, is just freaking toxic, bro. How am I paying for 2/3 of the game, bro?
yeah. The studio's just screaming money.
You know, but that's besides the point. You know, let's hope that doesn't turn out to be the case.
I'll explain it later. But yeah, the mercenaries, like what I put on my wish list was like adding like new characters and maps, like and like extra areas from like the village, extra areas from the castle and stuff. But like in characters, I really hope they bring like characters like Luis, like Jill, Claire, and other like people like that, like into and give them like more unique like guns, like how they did in the original Mercenaries.
Right. Yeah, I mean, even the characters from the original were pretty cool, you know, and they had some unique traits to them because it was Wesker, Krauser, and Hunk. You know, so they already had some really cool like characters
ones.
in there. Yeah, some unique ones. You know, so I'm really excited to kind of see how they might expand on that. You know, and I wouldn't even, you know, I don't necessarily need like characters from other games. You know, just include more of the characters from this game.
Yeah, and like even like
I mean, you got Salazar, you got Adler too.
Sandler,
Or you like I would even play it through as like a Gararador.
or
You know, if they give you a
like the
chance.
big cheese.
The big cheese, you know that's a perfect one.
Yeah, I did say like maps. I was talking about maps, but I really do hope like they include games outside of like the main game, like RE2 maps or RE3 maps. Like I talked about like adding RPD
Right.
or like downtown Raccoon City.
They might actually. Okay, so I feel like that one's more possible than like adding something from another game, just because it's still Leon, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that would almost do better as like one of those side missions, you know, the side ops. What are they called? Like they did in Resident Evil 2.
Ghost Survivors.
Is it Ghost Survivors? The extra missions, just this
yeah,
whole.
yeah. I think that's called Ghost Survivors.
Yeah, something like that. You know, I think would be more appropriate. I definitely hope they bring back Ghost Survivors. I really like that. But I would really like it to be like actual scenarios, like actual lore scenarios, you know, like yeah, it's cool to just have like the what if scenarios, but I would like to play something that like maybe actually happened or has some significance, you know, like separate
it.
ways, you know.
Like I've written down in my wish list about like one of the drivers, like the drivers that take you to the village, like one, you know, the one I'm talking about, like
Yeah, the one that's in the fire pit.
yeah, in the fire pit, or like the one in like that gets dropped in a lake.
Yeah, you know, just to see how they ended up there.
Yeah,
I would like to see, you know, maybe it's just like an endless, even if it's just like an endless survival mode or something, or you know, or like a race to the docks, bro, where you end up dying anyway. You know, I want to see something like that. You know, something that ties in, so it's like it feels like you're learning something new about the game. You know, you're filling in your gaps with it, instead of something like, oh, this is what could have happened, and it doesn't really have a tie into the rest of the game.
Yeah, these are my two last ones. I didn't bring it up because I didn't want to like interrupt you, but like when you look at the maps, it was on screen for a little bit, but yeah, when you look at the maps, the layout is pretty much like identical. like if you see like a map of like the village and crap, like you see like where you start, the house, the road to the main village, the cemetery, the farm. All of it is exactly where it was in the original game.
Yeah, why wouldn't it be?
I know it's just that like I initially thought it was just like the areas are gonna be the same, but the layout is gonna be different.
Right. Just to like switch it up a little bit to keep it fresh. No, I'm glad they did that because you know what they did with Resident Evil 3 was really just honestly pretty really f***ing disappointing. You know, like if you're gonna, I feel like if you're gonna change something, add something. You know, don't mess with what makes the game good.
Yeah. Like even though I was like I really I liked RE3, but I can see like
I liked it too.
it could have been like it could have been way better. Like it could have been like a huge masterpiece.
Yeah, you know, like the gameplay's not bad. You know, like honestly, the game is solid. You know, if it had come out like that without me having prior knowledge of the original, I would have thought Resident Evil 3 was an amazing game. You know, but just knowing what it could have been is what kills me, and that's what I don't want to happen with Resident Evil 4. You know, if anything, this game's got like 10 times the potential that Resident Evil 3 had.
Could ever have.
You know, this is Resident Evil 4's baby. You know, this is the golden child right here.
Yeah.
They really can't mess this up. I really hope they don't, you know.
Yeah, it's like the original passing the torch onto the remake and giving people everything that they want again.
Yeah, you know, I hope Capcom really shows us how much they've learned, you know, now that they're on their third remake at this point.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like they're using the new engine, is Resident Evil engine?
Yeah, the RE engine.
Yeah, they're using the new engine, you know, and I feel like they're showing us how much they've grown and how much they've learned, you know, and I think they're taking a lot of extra care with Resident Evil 4, and they're keeping a better eye on it, let's say, you know, compared to Resident Evil 3.
Yeah, I feel like they have learned from their mistakes. So the last thing I want to put out there was hoping that they bring back cut enemies that weren't in the original. Like I touched on this lightly, but I never really explained it. But like enemies like the parasite women, where it's like these like women in like what was it called, insane jackets.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and they have like limbs and like faces like coming out of them.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like those would be best placed in like the island section along with the regenerators.
Yeah.
And and like the Hookman, where it's like it's supposed to be like a hallucination that Leon has. So they could bring back hallucinations in like the form of this Hookman, kind of like hiding in backgrounds and just being like following you somehow.
Yeah, you know what I think they could do is like maybe like have Ada or Krauser like in the distance, you know, watching over you. But I think if it's gonna be a hallucination, I think it should have to do something with like Raccoon City. You know, it's like we should show some of Leon's PTSD. Maybe not a Hookman, but maybe he sees like a zombie walking around or something. I think something like that would be cool.
Yeah.
I mean, they could probably include like a Hookman or something in the village somewhere. That's not too far fetched.
Yeah, because from what we've seen, they added a new hammer guy, where it's like it had like an anvil face, like in the new remake. But so if they can add like new enemies that weren't in the original, they could bring back these guys. And I even mentioned like the Black Fog. So in the beta versions of RE4, this Black Fog was like basically it's like a mist of like plagas that like surrounds like parts of like the castle or like even parts of the village. And like once like you inhale the Black Fog, you start like hallucinating, and then like you're infected in something. So hopefully something like the Black Fog can return into this remake.
Yeah, you know, there is something cool about like having an enemy that you can't really fight, you know, and you got to figure out other ways of dealing with them. I feel like the Resident Evil series has always been good about coming up with fights where you got to figure out a gimmicky reason almost to like beat a boss.
Yeah, where battling is not an option.
Right, where there's like an alternate solution.
All right, so that's pretty much everything I wanted to mention, and like pretty much everything that you wanted to mention.
How you know? You don't speak for me. No, I'm just fine.
All right, well, that's pretty much everything we wanted to say. Follow me on Instagram or Twitter. I'm really trying to get like trying to upload more, and I thinking like these new podcast episodes are the best way I can. So anyway, that's about it. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you later. Peace out.
Goodbye.